Hey everyone, Toying Around Toys here, and we've done a few different looks at Savage Crucible, and we are going to do another one with a special little surprise this time. We have one of the accessory packs. So here's one of the last ones we had, one of the Kickstarter exclusives. He's got his glowing swords and his charming personality, and here's one of the really cool accessory packs. Tons of weapons, we've got armor, we've got various heads in there, and to go along with this, we are also going to open up another figure. So since some of the weapons in that accessory pack are rather pricey, we've got ourselves a Royal Guard. So if anyone tries anything funny or fishy, we have the lizard to fight and or eat the fish. So the coloring on this figure is kind of the black with the white accents. It looks very menacing. I would not try to sneak into a palace that was guarded by him, so I think he was definitely hired for the right position. So let's jump right into it and open them up. And since we've done a review on these figures on this channel before, I think I'm going to spend less time on the articulation and the design and focus more on the accessories and just the other things about the figure that I might like, just to keep it interesting. And here's the map. It looks like the same map of the land that came with the other figure. I think all of this wave 1 is going to have the same. And then we've got our card back here. So let's open this guy up. I had a little bit of trouble with the first one, which we have right here, and I had to use the knife to open it up, so I'm just gonna jump right into it as to not embarrass myself a second time being foiled by a bag of foil. And I am still not making quick work of it. This is probably one of the most impressive bags I've ever seen. It is just a strong piece of packaging, I'd say. So gonna get the knife in there again. It's also, in part, I don't want to wreck the card or ruin the card, so I'm being very careful with it as to not cause any damage. And I think we have freed our card, and we have looks like a artifact or a canister or something to hold some liquids, some elixir, some lizard medicine. Who knows? Good times. Alright, so now we get to jump into our Royal Guard. And we've got his bonus hands that he comes with, and he's got his ties back here. We can just undo those. We'll do a comparison against the Kickstarter exclusive, the one that's out there. It does look like it's a very similar design. I think this might, if I'm not mistaken, be a repaint or a color variant, but they do look like they have very similar characteristics. But the paint application is done so well that they do genuinely look like two completely different characters and figures, even though I think the molds are actually very similar, if not identical in some parts. And even the swords and holsters or anything, they do look also similar design. I think the swords might be a little bit shorter on the Royal Guard, but the other ones do look very, very close. So we'll do a side-by-side comparison and we'll confirm that suspicion. And just everything about these figures is just amazing. This is my favorite thing. The articulated jaw, and it opens up really wide, so he can eat flies, he can eat apples, he can eat chicken wings, just pretty much anything. Probably even a whole watermelon. Alright, so we're going to do a comparison. So you can see the armor is the same. It looks like the face sculpt is the same, but they look so differently because of how differently they're painted. And then looks like the belt is the same. Oh, the arm guards are actually slightly different. You can see that there's spikes on one and then there's snakes on the other, so there is difference there. So they are not identical, and it looks like even, the shin guards. So there are some differences in the armor, even though the body and the face do seem to be the same, just painted differently, which is pretty awesome. It definitely highlights the power of a good paint application. So here are the swords. You can see that the handle is the same, and even the design of the blade. However, the one is shorter. And then these guys, they are painted differently, but I think these ones are actually identical. The handle looks the same. The blade looks the same. Even where the little nicks are on the blade, they must chop the same thing because they're in the exact same spot. So they must train together, and very, very regimented. Alright, so now let's arm our royal guard so that he can protect the palace. He can laugh at people, hiss at them, and whatnot. So I think we're going to give him the curved sword, the smaller one, just because with the other guy carrying the larger sword, I think we'll switch it up a little bit so for display purposes they look more different and we can really highlight the other weapons. And then these ones, when I was doing the other review, I was not a huge fan of the holsters on the back. Just the way that they went in, they were kind of loose, they moved around. I was checking to see if these are the same. I imagine they are. It just, oh, and then got the toe articulation, which is always good toe articulation. His knees are a little bit stiff right now. We'll just work through them. Yeah. So actually, I think what they could actually do now, this is not something everyone could do, but if you can do it, I definitely recommend it. So let's get these two all set up. For those who've done it before, you probably know exactly what I'm doing. Like it's the 1 up to the high 5, which is the foot 5. Like if you have a best friend out there, you're gonna do the foot 5. But if your toes don't quite bend that way, it's really hard or it could hurt. Or if you just go around wearing shoes or boots, it's very difficult. But lizard warriors, foot 5 all day long. So that was well worth it. So now we are going to get our royal guard back to standing up so we can pose a little bit. He's a little bit wobbly, but that's okay. And we'll just put his sword in there. And just kind of, yeah, with the last review, the fingers are a little bit softer so you can get the weapons in there without any issues. And you can see the swords in the back are moving around. That was my one complaint about those, is that they just don't stop moving. And while those two just hang out there and talk about days of old, we are going to open up our accessory pack and see what sort of goodies are jam-packed in this thing. And then we're going to try some of them out and see how well we like them. I think the thing I'm most excited about are the bonus heads in there, which completely change the character because then it makes him into a completely different lizard. And you can see that there's different head colors for different of the lizard bodies. So we've got 2 here, so we can take a look at those. Oh, and we've got another card. So we all know what we're going to do with this one. We're going to... Whoa, I opened it up without the knife. This is a proud accomplishment for me. Something I never thought I'd be able to do. And we've got... Oh, this is cool. This actually looks like it could be our Royal Guard. It is. So we have our Royal Guard card to go along with our Royal Guard figure. Alright, just taking a look at some of these weapons and armors, and we've got the leg, the forearm, and the shin pieces that are unarmored, which is pretty cool if we want to go with a more of a unarmored look. And then we've got these really cool bladed kind of gold handles, which 2 of them look like they're the similar ones that we have here. Then we've got this kind of hooked one. That's pretty awesome, and they're a different color than what I was just doing was a color comparison where he's bronze and this are the gold armor, or the gold coloring weapons, so which is pretty awesome. And now I really like this look. So right now he's wearing like the shin guards, but if we want to, after work, he's just watching TV or going to the movies, you don't need to have all that armor, or even just flying on an airplane. You can't really get through TSA wearing this, so you might have to take them off just for the scan. So now we can do that. So I'm going to first start by popping off the hand, which I don't remember if I popped off the other one's hand, but it's just a peg in there, so it's the normal look. And now what we could probably do is pop off the forearm, which I'm not sure how much pressure I'm going to need on this one. So just looking in there, it looks like there's another peg on the other side, so I should be able to just kind of twist it or pry it off a little bit. I'm not going to put too much pressure on it just because I don't want to break it, so if it doesn't come out right away, I'll have to heat it up, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to take these swords out so I don't break anything. So here goes nothing. And it's in there pretty good, but not quite ready to give up yet. It does seem like, yep, it came right off. So now that's the armored forearm that we took off, and then you can see the peg on there, which is a thicker peg than the hand one, so that's why it took a little bit more pressure to come off, which we can just take a look. The articulation on these is pretty awesome. So now we get a closer look at how that forearm articulation is. And this one should fit on. So let's see what we can do there. It's not going in too easily. Again, for the first time I take something in and out, I don't want to put too much pressure on it. So I'm probably just gonna have him hang out here for a little bit with his amputated arm, where just having him look on in absolute shock, like, what did you do to me? Then his friend is just like, I might have chopped off your hand. I do apologize. So if you have a friend who plays with swords, just maybe wear your arm guards. Otherwise, something like this could happen. I mean, he was wearing the arm guard at the time, and it still happened. Just be careful. All right, so I'm going to see if I could just slide this one back on, just so I could finish the review with all his appendages. And if not, I'll heat it up once I'm done. It's not quite going on as tight as I'd like, so I will fix that later. Just the figure's going to stay together really well because these pegs are just that's what they do. So it's not going to fall on and off, which is good. So let's take a look at some of the other things in the accessory pack. I like some of these curved blades. Those are pretty awesome. And then the shield is pretty awesome. Let's take a look at this. So we've got the armor and we've got these heads. And let's see, what are we going to play with first? I'm going to peel off this protective covering. And I really like this head with the hood, just a lizard head. We're going to play with that. We're probably going to put it on him. That's probably going to be the one I display him with because I really do enjoy that one. And then there's some really cool weapons in here. And I'm very interested how this armor goes on and if it's the same or similar. And then this is a really awesome weapon. It's double-sided and it's got a punching spikes on it. So you can really just attack 4 or 5 people at once. That is a good weapon. So we're gonna give him that, especially since he's missing an arm. Just having the extra blade is definitely gonna help him do his guarding. And he could also use the blade to dig out roots and also help him with his gardening. So right off the bat, real huge fan of this accessory. This is a really cool weapon. I'm not sure if that comes with any of the standard figures or if this you can just get from the accessory pack. And then you can see the kind of the profile view. He's really happy with that blade. And it's got a gold handle, so sorry, I just pulled his head off without any warning. Well, what we're about to do is we're gonna do a comparison and put the new head on. So yeah, and this one's got the articulated jaw. The mouth doesn't open up as wide on this one because he does have the hood. So, but it's cool that the jaw does kind of go into the fold below. So he's got the jaw does able to open and close. The neck mobility is a little bit limited with the hood because he's shaking around. He's attracting the opposite, the ladies, let's just say. And yeah, that's a cool head. I really like that one. So these are probably going to be what they look like. Oh, and here's for this colored body, there's like almost like a dinosaur head, which is pretty cool. It's got these crazy teeth on it and really wide jaw articulation. It's like before battle and then after battle. So this is cool. This is it's like I said before, it almost looks kind of like a dinosaur. It's more like a ruthless, rugged, aggressive, just not someone you'd want to see walking down an alley. You definitely cross the street, but he also doesn't look like he's traveling alone, so he's going to have a friend coming from one direction. So either way, you're not going to do too well for yourself. All right, so looking at the other kind of loincloth, not a loincloth, crotch piece. I don't know what the armor is called, but the coloring's cool on that. If you wanted to change it all up for like the gold, kind of if he ever got a promotion from Royal Guard to like the Royal Gardener, who can change him up. And what's really cool is the shin guards are actually a combination of the other two, where the one had spikes on them, then the other had snakes. It actually has snakes with spikes in the middle. So it really is just a merging of the two. And then we saw the other heads of the other colored bodies, which I don't really have them to put on at the moment, but if I ever do pick them up, I've got some bonus heads to play around with. And I do enjoy the original head that he came with over the dinosaur looking one, especially since we've swapped out the Royal Guard with this head, so this way they're not the same. Otherwise I might change them up, but these are probably the two heads of the four that I think I like on these bodies. So all in all, if you pick up either one of these two figures, definitely recommend it. You'll definitely be happy with them. And if you get the accessory pack, once you start getting more of the bodies, you can start swapping out the weapons, the armor, the heads, the arms, legs. Just really make it your own, like whatever makes it happy. Got articulated tails, so if you're happy, they're happy. The tails will wag, and they'll smile. You can see with the jaw articulation, they can open them up. They can smile. They can boo and they can hiss or they can laugh. So, be welcoming with them. Otherwise, you'll hear about it. And try not to cut off their arms or legs because you'll also hear about that. And I think until I put his arm back on, he's probably not going to let me live that one down. So here we have it. Savage Crucibles Wave 1. We've got our lizards, and look at that face, the detail, the articulation, everything about them. Really cool weapons, really cool coloring. The articulation's amazing. Smiling faces, jaw articulation, really bright, vibrant colors. Everything about them's amazing. Pick them up if you like them. Thanks for watching.